Shalom, family. So, I've touched on this before, I think a year or two ago, and I thought, let me touch on it again today because I want to show you how beautiful it is, how it should be. So, what we're going to talk about is the pagan gods who gave rise to the days of our week and our months. Now, you might not realize how often pagan gods play a role just in our daily lives, and we take it for granted and accept that this is the way it is. And you wonder, how does God feel when he looks at all of this and he looks down with all this idolatry and pagan worship going on knowingly and unknowingly, and an excellent plan by the enemy to insert himself and his deception in everything? We speak the names of the gods, small g, on a daily basis, and we don't realize it. Whether it's Thor's Day, Thursday, or Saturn's Day, Saturday, every day of the week, religious and non-religious people alike follow the old pagan tradition of giving thanks to the gods of old. Scary. In ancient Mesopotamia, astrologers assigned each day of the week the name of a god, small g. In a culture where days were consumed by religion, it's unsurprising that the days of the week, Monday to Sunday, were made in homage to the gods believed to rule the lives of mere mortals. Centuries later, the Romans began using the 7-day week, adopted the names of the week to fit their own gods. These were then adopted by Germanic people who adjusted the names according to their gods. Still small g, all of them. Predominantly, the Germanic and Norse gods lived on today in the days of the week. And this is them. Sunday is the sun's day, the name of a pagan Roman holiday. And in many folklore traditions, Sunday was believed to be a lucky day for babies to be born. Many societies worship the sun and sun gods, and the most famous is the Egyptian sun god Ra, the lord of time, the one God humiliated in Egypt. Then we have Monday. Monday comes from the Anglo-Saxon Monandag, which is the moon's day. On this day, people gave homage to the goddess of the moon. It was believed by the ancients there were 3 Mondays during the year that were considered to be unlucky. First Monday in April, second in August, and last in December. Pagan traditions. Tuesday. Tuesday is the first to be named after a Germanic god, Tiu or Tuia, a god of war and the sky, and associated with the Norse god Tyr, who was a defender god in Viking mythology. Tiu is associated with Mars. He's usually shown with only one hand, because one-handed gods are useful. In the most famous myth about Tyr, he placed his hand between the jaws of the wolf Fenrir as a mark of good faith, while the other gods, pretending to play, bound the wolf. Fenrir realized he was tricked and bit off the god's hand. Again, really useful god, isn't he? Wednesday. Wednesday means Woden's Day, in Norse Odin, the Old Norse equivalent to Mercury, who was the messenger of the gods and the Roman god of commerce, travel, and science. He was considered the chief god and leader of the wild hunt in Anglo-Saxon mythology, but the name directly translated means violently insane headship. Kind of describes the devil. Not exactly the name of a loving and kind god. Woden was the ruler of Asgard, the hoe of the gods, and able to shift and change into different forms. Maybe like a snake or a serpent. Then we get Thursday. Thursday, obviously, was Thor's Day, named after the Norse god of thunder and lightning, and is the Old Norse equivalent to Jupiter. Thor is depicted holding his giant hammer Mjolnir, and it's a symbol of defiance against new religion. Interesting, right? Friday. Friday is associated with Freya. Freya, the wife of Woden and the Norse goddess of love, marriage, and fertility, equivalent to Venus, the Roman goddess of love. And then finally, Saturday. Saturday comes from Saturn's day, the Roman god associated with wealth, plenty, and time. It's the only English weekday still associated with the Roman god, Saturn. The Hebrews called Saturday the Sabbath, meaning day of rest. The Bible identifies Saturday as the last day of the week. The 7-day week originates within ancient Babylon prior to 600 BC, when time was marked with the lunar cycle, which experienced different 7-day cycles. A millennium later, Emperor Constantine converted Rome to Christianity and standardized the 7-day week across the empire. Rome may initially have acquired the 7-day week from the mystical beliefs of Babylonian astrologers, but it was the biblical story of creation, God making the heavens and the earth and resting on the 7th day, that led the first Christian emperor of Rome to make sure it endured to this day. So all those names and their connections to the various false gods, and that's the history of how we ended up with them today. Now the names of the months are in a similar situation. January, Januarius, in honor of the Roman god Janus. February, Februarius, in honor of the Roman festival of general expiation and purification. March, or Martius, in honor of the Roman god Mars. April, Aprilis, derived from aperio, a Latin verb meaning to open. The month is so called because it is the months when the earth opens to produce new fruit. May, or Maius, in honor of the Greek goddess Maya. June, Junius, to honor the Roman goddess Juno. July, Julius, to honor Roman Emperor Julius Caesar. August, Augustus, in honor of Roman Emperor Augustus Caesar. The rest of the months, September, October, November, December, are derived from the Latin words for the numerals 7, 8, 9, and 10, because they seemingly ran out of gods or interest at this point. They were the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th months of the old Roman calendar before July and August were inserted into them. The Hebrew months, now that's where it becomes proper. This is what it should have been all along. The Hebrew months is where we should be looking. They were originally numbered, but over time, names were given to them. For instance, Abib, the first month of spring, means green, ears of barley. For instance, that month, now also called Nisan, meaning their flight out of Egypt. Later, the Jews borrowed Babylonian names for many of their months, some of them even like Tammuz, referring to a pagan deity to this day. The original system was to count the months in numerical order, starting from Nisan. Not from when Rosh Hashanah arrives. No, Nisan, that month, is when you were supposed to start counting. Anytime a person mentioned a month, he was in effect recalling the exodus from Egypt. We are in, say, the 6 months. It has been 6 months since the month of the Exodus. Thus, the numeric naming served as a constant reminder of their deliverance from slavery and bondage. How beautiful is that? It's numeric, and it begins when God did that great deliverance for them out of slavery and bondage and made them his people. It has been month 2 since then, month 3 since then, month 4 since then, to be ingrained in their minds permanently of how great our God is. The days of the week in the Hebrew Bible are not only a framework for understanding time, but a profound reflection of spiritual and religious principles rooted in the creation narrative of Genesis. The Hebrew names for the days of the week are simply the day number within the week. Now in Hebrew, these names can be abbreviated as well. So number 1, Yom Echad, day 1, as straight from the Bible. First day, Sunday, starting at the preceding sunset. So day 1. Day 2, Yom Sheni, the second day, which is our Monday. Day 3, Yom Shlishi, third day, Tuesday. Day 4, Yom Revi, fourth day, Wednesday. Day 5, Yom Chamishi, fifth day, Thursday. Day 6, Yom Shishi, sixth day, Friday. Now you might think, you just said Shishi. No, I said Shlishi. Shlishi is the third day. Shishi is the sixth day. It's a beautiful language. Number 7, Yom Shevi, the seventh day, better known as Yom Shabbat, the day of rest, Saturday. The names of the days of the week are modeled on the 7 days mentioned in the book of Genesis, as it should be, again reminding us that God created everything in 7 literal days. The Hebrew Bible does not provide individual names for the days of the week like modern languages, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Instead, the days are referred to by their position relative to Shabbat. It reflects the centrality of Shabbat in the Hebrew understanding of time, and each day is simply numbered 1 through to 7. There has to be a day of rest, and it's all clearly defined in the Bible, and I personally think those names are way more beautiful. Today being Friday, Yom Shishi is way better for me than something named after Freya. But can't change that. We live in this broken world. But what I'm trying to show you is, imagine now a holy and righteous God looking down on mankind and seeing these depictions of pagan gods and falsehoods everywhere and in daily use by everyone, when he gave us such a beautiful system, such beautiful names, made to be reminding us of his power, his creation, his deliverance, and his care over us every step of the way. And all those things craftily and cleverly removed by the enemy and replaced with a weak, pathetic imitation. Again, this is just educational for your knowledge, so that you might know something you didn't know before. God is in control. He knows our hearts, and he's coming for his bride soon. I, for one, can't wait. Have a great weekend. Shalom.